Welcome to Toni Unleashed, the podcast, where I unleash the truth about all things pets. My research and anecdotal evidence, paired with expert interviews, will help your pet thrive. I'm here to answer questions, share insights, and spread awareness about what's really going on in the world of pets. I'm Toni Shelaske with 25 years of experience in the pet space. Welcome to the show. Hi, and welcome to Toni Unleashed. And I am thrilled today to have with me Jessica Fischer from the Pet Parenting Reset. Welcome, Jess.
Thank you so much, Toni. I'm so excited to be here.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm thrilled to have you because you've been in it, doing it, and in the thick of this for quite a while. So I'm anxious for you to share good information with my listeners. And first and foremost, I feel like you're a pet health coach. Do you feel like that's...
Yeah. So I feel like I was doing pet health coaching before it was a thing, and it's a pretty new thing. Yeah. So a lot of people still are not familiar with it, which is fine. That's totally understandable. I feel like we're following in the footsteps of human health coaching. You know, everything in the pet world is a good decade generally behind the human health world. And I was definitely doing this. As I was becoming a dog trainer, I very, very quickly pivoted towards nutrition because I saw how it changed my pets' lives. And so I was doing this for long before it was a thing. Now it's a thing. I have my certification. I love doing this. I have multiple nutrition certifications. And I really think, you know, it's one thing to be a pet health coach. It's another thing to also have the background in nutrition, because that really is the foundation for health. And so I'm blessed. Like it's not an easy job, I will say. Like a lot of people get into working with animals because they're like, oh, I want to work with animals. Like that's actually what happened to me when I was going to be a dog trainer. I was like, I want to work with dogs. And then I quickly learned that I'm really working a whole heck of a lot more with people. So it's not an easy thing to do, but it is very rewarding. So happy to be here to talk about it.
Yeah. And everything you say resonates with me as well. But let's, I think, explain more for maybe listeners that don't understand what exactly you can help them with. What can a pet health coach help with?
Yeah. And I think that is kind of a very confusing thing right now because we absolutely do not take the place of your veterinarian. The goal is to support what you're doing with your veterinarian. Sometimes that can get pretty drastic, meaning that you're only utilizing your veterinarian. If you have like an allopathic veterinarian, you're basically only using them for lab testing and diagnostics. And then you're coming back to your pet health coach with those test results saying, okay, now what do we do? Also, you know, obviously any veterinarian, even if that's all they're doing, they're going to give a whole heck of a lot of recommendations of what they want you to be doing. So that's great. Bring that too. Because sometimes I am not completely anti-pharmaceutical. Sometimes we do need a bridge when pets really are suffering. Absolutely. We need a bridge. But the goal is to aid in helping you take care of your pet in a more holistic way. So I'm always going to start with nutrition. I do my best to meet people where they are, but the reality is we have to get our pets off of ultra processed food.
Yeah.
Period. End of story.
Yeah.
We have to. In some way, shape, or form, whether that means adding fresh food to the bowl, which is not ideal, but we can work with it, or getting them completely on a fresh food diet. You know, this is how we're all supposed to be living. We're all supposed to be eating real food that comes from the earth, whether that's animals grown on the earth or plants that are grown in the earth. That's just natural. Outside of that, we do look over all of your diagnostics from your veterinarian. I'm going to read through every note I get from your veterinarian, look at all the lab work, any test results you have. We're going to put this together. You know, one of the things I do on my podcast, I've recently started doing is asking, especially veterinarians, what is what to you, what does holistic mean? Because it kind of means a little something different to everybody. And for me, it's looking at the whole picture. It's looking at everything going on in and outside of your pet's body, how it all works synergistically, and what we can do as naturally as possible to intervene to support the pet's body in doing what it does best, which is healing itself. So I'm going to also work, in addition to the food, I'm going to work with you with supplementation. Me personally, I'm a little bit different from a lot of other pet health coaches where I really focus on food supplementation before anything else. And then we go into like actual what we think of as supplements. And then, from there, we also talk about what we can do, what we can change in the environment. Can we change the cleaning supplies you're using in the house? Can we get those candles and plugins out of the house? If you are next to a golf course, right, what can we do to kind of mitigate the risk factors in the environment? We're certainly going to talk about vaccines and topical flea and tick, or even oral flea and tick. Like, we're going to talk about literally everything in your pet's life. So much so that people are like, I have not filled out a form that extensive in a very long time when they fill out my intake form because I need to know it all.
Yeah.
And so that's the goal. I am not here to replace your veterinarian. I talk a lot about building a healthcare team for your pet, and you as the pet parent being the head of that team. And I think above all else, if we can get that mindset shift in people's brains that they are the head of their pet's healthcare team, that alone can change a lot.
I love that. And and the mindset and them realizing we have to be their advocates.
Yes.
They can't talk. They're communicating, but not verbally, right?
Yes.
So they're communicating. We, as their parents, are with them the most. So we have to start to recognize and kind of really dial in and listen to them.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. It can be one of the harder things for people to do. I noticed this first, again, going back to my dog training days, especially with reactivity in dogs, people have a really hard time noticing that exact moment that their dog notices a trigger in the environment. So I would spend a lot of time with people just getting them to watch their dog. And like, more often than not, the very first sign is kind of like a hesitation in their gait when they're walking. And that can be really hard to miss if you're not really in tune and paying attention to their dog. Like, I've actually had dogs that's the only indication they gave, was kind of this like hesitation in their next step, and then they would, pretty quickly get back on track. But I think you're lucky if you have a dog who's like hackles raise, or they pause for an extended period. Like, that's more exaggerated and that's easier for pet parents to notice. But triggers as far as like food sensitivities and things in the environment, we have to be so almost hyper aware of everything going on. One of the things people often don't realize, because a lot of veterinarians today still don't acknowledge the fact that vaccine reactions can happen 30 days past, giving a vaccine. So I find a lot of correlations in like looking at people's vet records and seeing a vaccine, or usually multiple vaccines, were given on a certain day. And then within that 30-day time frame, all of these symptoms started happening and nobody connects the dots.
Right.
And that's just one of those things that like we have to start paying attention and noticing.
Right. I love that you said hyper aware, and I agree with you. And being hyper aware, but not making note of those things, not necessarily letting it get you to full panic mode either.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because we see that, right? We see it.
Oh, we do. Yes.
We see it. So just making notes, even if you start to journal. Like if you have a dog or a cat that is experiencing something and you just can't figure out what it is, start making notes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting you bring that up because I do have clients that I have to have that conversation with, that our energy is affecting our pets.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the stress and anxiety that we
Mm-hmm.
have is affecting our pets way more than whatever is going on in their body, in their environment. Like our stress affects them so much. So I almost without fault, regardless of the situation, will always throw something in there with a pet parent about chilling the heck out. Like, let's do some meditation. Do you do yoga? Like, different things that we can actually include our pets with if we do them at home to kind of just chill out.
Yeah.
Both of us, both
Yeah.
us as people and our pets, just to kind of like bring that energy back down. It can make a huge difference.
Yeah. Yeah. And the quieter you get, the more you notice.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll
Yeah.
be more effective in helping your pet, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and then back to the care team, I love this too, because if the pet parent that you are coaching is including the veterinarian in what they're doing and periodically going back for necessary blood work, whether it's a kidney thing and you're doing fish, that you advise fish stock to see if it bring the kidney values down or whatever. If that pet parent has a vet open-minded enough to say, okay, we've tried everything else, why not let's see what else can be done, and then we're changing the veterinary community. Then
Yeah.
we're getting that another mind opened up to there's alternatives.
Yeah, I love when that happens. It's still pretty rare for
Mhm.
me at least to see that happen, but it's amazing when it does. And our pets care team doesn't stop with a veterinarian, a pet health coach, a nutritionist. The groomer is included in this, the pet
Mhm.
sitter is included in this. The people that you trust at your indie pet store are included in this because I personally have had people go to their pet store and they have a list of things that I have given them that I want them to go purchase for their animal, and that indie pet store has said, no, get this instead. And I'm like, oh my
Oh,
gosh, like I hate that so much, but at the same time I understand, like, everybody's trying to do their job. So like it is important for us to realize who all is in our pet care team and to keep everybody kind of on board with what is going on, and also realize that you as a pet parent make the ultimate decision. So yeah, it's so much more than we think on the surface. Every interaction that we have in regards to our pet is part of the pet care team. And our indie pet stores do like they're I don't mean this to sound bad in any way. I think I have a very different view of a receptionist, but like they're like the receptionists of the pet health world. They're oftentimes the very first person that a pet parent goes to because
oh,
something's
sure.
going wrong.
Hmm.
So they play a very, very important role, and I know you know this very well.
Hmm.
And they all mean well. I just, I personally have run into some cases where like, they just don't stock. Not every store stocks the same
Sure.
things, right?
Yes.
Um, but yeah, it's a very important part. It's a very important role that our indie pet stores have, which is another reason why I highlight them so much on my podcast.
Thank you. I greatly appreciate that. We are on the front lines, so that's usually how I say it. But yeah, we're the ones that I feel like take a lot of the brunt of it, because
Hmm.
so many times, and I've counseled tens of thousands over the past 16 years. But a lot of them are mad. A lot of them are so mad and so frustrated because they've spent thousands of dollars gone to the emergency clinic, done all of the things, did the prescription food, did the antibiotics, did the steroids, did the whatever, did it all. And their pet's not any better.
Yeah.
And they're very, very frustrated. And they come into an indie pet store and they're already on the defensive.
Yep.
You know, they come in asking questions, but then they're ready to ask, well, what do you mean and how do you know? And I think to myself, did you have this attitude with the vet? You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, well, how do you know that antibiotic is going to work and clear up my dog's skin or whatever? Like, I feel like we as human beings, especially Americans, are so ingrained to trust not only the veterinary industry and that way, but also the medical
Hmm.
industry.
Yeah.
We don't push back. We don't ask questions.
Yeah.
And we need to.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I'm happy being called a problem. Like,
Exactly.
because I know that I'm not going home being injected with something experimental or, you know what I mean? Like, you have to ask questions. You have to be your own advocate and your pet's advocate. And we just don't live, sadly, we don't live in a world that we have the luxury of trusting blindly. We just
Right.
don't.
Right. Right. And I do feel like our community is growing, Jess. Don't you?
Mm-hmm.
I really feel like we're growing.
Yeah, I do. I think, and sadly, it is because there's so much failure in the current medical system. It's
And so
very,
many are sick.
mm-hmm,
And
so
we see
many,
so much cancer.
so
And
much. Yeah. Yeah. It's so sad. And the reality is that I was just thinking as you were talking a minute ago, like even 10 years ago, switching a dog to a species appropriate diet could have turned them around. Like complete 180.
hmm
I think we're lucky to see that today. I
uh-huh.
think, you know,
hmm
we have to be very intentional with detoxing. We have to be very intentional with appropriate supplementation in addition to getting them onto a species appropriate diet. Also, as you said, the healthy pet food space, so the raw and gently cooked space has grown so much
hmm
that it has become harder to pick one that is good. I credit Susan Thixton with saying this to me and really waking me up. She said, just because it's in the freezer section doesn't mean it's good.
Right.
And I was like, oh, you are so right. Why have I never it was like a bulb moment for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
And so we have to even be more discerning with the fresh foods that we are picking. And I just, I wish it were as simple as it was because there are people online right now who are telling everybody a raw food diet is going to completely cure your dog of everything, right? Obviously that's not the case, but 10 years ago,
You're right.
there probably were a lot of
Right.
anecdotal evidence to say that that could be true. Unfortunately, today there's just more that we have to do because it is so bad.
You're
It's
right.
it's so bad.
You're so right. And honestly, it didn't dawn on me till you vocalized that just now. But yeah, 10 years ago when I would switch people from kibble to raw food, overnight, different
Yeah.
dog.
Yeah.
In the past 3, 4, 5 years, well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
These symptoms aren't going away yet. So you're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. And I think the saddest part is that now there are people who have been told this is going to cure your dog and then they're not seeing it, so they're like, "Oh, raw food isn't it, that's not the answer." Like it
Yeah,
still is the answer, it's only part of the answer.
right.
And so like we just have to I think we have to kind of shift our education a little bit. I'm a huge advocate for a raw food diet, but I work with people. Like if you want to do a cooked food, we'll do a cooked food. Um, if you're more comfortable with that, or an HPP or whatever you're more comfortable with, as long as I'm getting you over to a fresh food diet, that's like my ultimate goal. But yeah, it is. And I had this conversation with BC Hinchin, who I don't know how many of your listeners might know who he is, but he's a pretty incredible person. He's been in the pet food industry for decades and was on the WPA board for a while. But we had this conversation back a little over a year ago when that whole Purina thing blew up that the FDA ultimately did nothing with. And we had this conversation that, like, okay, whatever is going on with the food right now, it may be something that isn't new, that this has happened before, that whatever this contaminant is has been in the food supply before. We have seen this before, but our animals, our dogs specifically, both cats and dogs were affected, but like over the generations, our dogs have gotten sicker and sicker and sicker every generation. And so now they're just not as adept to be able to handle the same things a dog 40 years ago was able to handle. And that's kind of, the like epigenetic part of what we're dealing with. We have these genes that are being passed down from generation to generation. They're not as adept to being able to handle things as well. And then on top of that, we have, the toxins in the food and the environment that are triggering, like, nope, the body's like, nope, can't handle this, right? We're not going to be able to do this. And so I think that is probably why they were not able to pinpoint anything, because it wasn't anything new. It wasn't anything out of the ordinary. It's just that our dogs and our cats aren't able to handle things today the way they used to be able to handle them 40, 50, 60 years ago.
Yeah. And as you just said, on top of that, we're adding in even more vaccines, adding in more chemical flea and tick treatments, adding in so much more. And what worries me, Jess, is if headway is made in the human food industry in the US, like if we really start to eliminate the food dyes and get, the ingredient panels looking like they do across the pond, I'm worried that the attack on pet food is going to be even worse. They're going to try to make up their margins and even make worse pet food than we have now.
So funny you said that, because I literally had that conversation on one of my live podcasts, like earlier this year. I was like, I am so stinking excited for what is happening at health services right now with RFK Jr. Like, I don't care what your political viewpoints are. We should all be united in the fact that our food system is killing us.
Yep.
I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat or an independent or a libertarian or who the heck ever you are. Our food system is killing us. And that is the exact same thing I said. I was like, I am just so worried that these companies that have been getting away with putting all of this crap in our food, they're just going to turn around and put it in our pets' food, because the regulation there is so much more lax.
Yep.
I'm super curious. Like, honestly, I am reading these AFCO emails way more, like the emails that I get from AFCO. I used to kind of just like blow through them, like kind of skim them. Now I'm reading every single one of them, because I am so curious if we are getting rid of grass for human food. Like, we need to get rid of it for pet food too. And like, I have seen nothing come of it yet. I'm really like nervous and excited to go to AFCO later this year to see if this is even brought up, because currently with AFCO, they have they have their agreement with Kansas State again, where they are very proud. That is not my words. That is AFCO's words in the email they sent, that they are continuing to work with Kansas State to create new avenues through the GRAS program, through the Generally Recognized as Safe program. So AFCO is very proud, their word, to continue the GRAS program through Kansas State. And I want to see that go away at the same time that it goes away in our human food system, but I have heard nothing about it. So I'm a little passionate, and because you can't tell, I'm like getting hyped up over here.
So, so let's just emphasize GRASS, and that's an acronym that means generally recognized as safe.
Yep.
So ingredients
Mhm.
can be labeled generally recognized as safe in our foods, in pet foods. So I think when that is said aloud, like anyone listening, do you feel comfortable eating something that is labeled generally recognized as safe? Generally. Like,
Well, I
what
think
even does that mean?
if people understood also that to be generally recognized as safe, there really are no requirements. It is just that company saying there's no proof of testing, there's nothing. It's literally just that company saying, "Yep, this qualifies for generally recognized as safe." There are no other requirements. There are no testing requirements, there are no third-party requirements, nothing. Nothing.
Nothing. That's sickening.
It is.
It's just like a pass. Here you go. You can go
Mhm.
through. You're fine.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have the same concern you do.
It's very terrifying. It's very
Mhm.
terrifying.
It is, which again is another reason why we need to be very confident in the brands that we are choosing to feed our pets, staying on top of what they are doing,
Mm,
continuing to follow them to make sure we are continually comfortable with what they are putting out, that they are continuing to be transparent. They are answering the questions that we have as consumers. Um, because, anything can change at any point in time. There are companies that I have recommended in the past that I no longer recommend. And there are I mean, right now I feel like it's dwindling, like the number of companies that I feel comfortable recommending to people and feeding my pets myself, because I will never recommend a company that I wouldn't feed to my pets myself.
right.
Even I even have a couple that I love the formulation, I love the people behind it, but my pets won't eat it. So how am I supposed to recommend it, right? And so, you know, of course, I'm not over here saying, follow me, listen to me, trust me. Like, if I resonate with you, please do. Please follow me. I'm happy to help you through this. But find some people
Mm-hmm.
that you trust, that you can start following, that you can start getting some ideas from. Never blindly trust anybody.
Mm-mm.
Do your own research.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard to know where to start. So finding people online who you do resonate with, they can give you places to start. It's kind of how I see my role. I don't see my role as out here saying, do this, don't do that. I'm saying, this is what I like and don't like and why. And, hopefully giving you a starting point for you to start doing your own research. Because I know a lot of people are like, the brands that I recommend and probably you recommend, most people have never heard of.
No, no,
Yeah.
no. And I usually tell people that when, like if I'm out or whatever,
Mm.
what do you do? Well, I have pet food stores, but the brands that I sell, you've probably never heard of.
Yeah.
And same when I'm on the sales floor in my store I say the same thing. And I usually say, how much time do you have?
Yeah.
Especially if it's a health case. And I started in the industry with my stores in 2008. And at that time, there were not a lot of foods to choose from. And then as time went by and the pet industry continued to grow and grow and grow and grow, and I think we're at $70 billion a year now.
Isn't it crazy?
It's crazy. So more and more and more brands have come onto the market. And some would think, to your point, that, oh, this is great. We have more to choose from. Not so much because a lot of them are just wanting a piece of the action.
Mhm.
And these ones that have been around for a while that are still true to their core beliefs and values, they did it. They got into this because of the same reason we got into this, is because we're
Mhm.
passionate about it. We believe in it. Do we have to, make a living at the end of the day? We do. But there's a difference. And
Yeah.
it's not easy picking brands these days. It's not easy. Where are you in the HPP camp? I
I
know.
feel like I'm on the fence for HPP because
Yeah.
I have had people on both sides on my podcast,
Yeah.
and I understand both sides. And so for me, I am, first of all, I'm sure you've talked about HPP before, high
But
pressure
yeah, you
processing,
can
or
go into it.
yeah, high pressure processing. The reality is that the idea is that it is killing, it's the kill step that
Mhm.
the FDA requires, because the FDA requires raw food. They have a zero tolerance on pathogenic bacteria, so Salmonella, E. coli, and Listeria. So HPP, the pressure that is put on this food is theoretically killing
Mhm.
Salmonella, E. coli, and Listeria. And it gives that company, like, that's their safeguard from
Mhm.
the FDA,
Mhm.
saying, "Yep, we have zero pathogenic bacteria because we are using this kill step." Um, on one side, people are like, "Okay, well, that's not raw food anymore because you have damaged the cells of those proteins."
Mhm.
And there are a couple ways to look at that. One, even freezing a
Mhm.
protein damages the cell. So, you know, how much of a naturalist are we really wanting to be? Yeah, we could go really deep with this. On the other hand, um, the only company I'm aware of that has put out testing showing that it doesn't change, or it barely changes the nutritional value of the food. Some of the vitamins and minerals decrease slightly, so you adjust your recipe accordingly. Some of them actually increase a little bit. That company happens to also use HPP, so it's, in my opinion, though I haven't seen the raw data, could potentially be biased. Um, that said, at the end of the day, I look at how well an animal does on a diet and
Mhm.
how well, or how well they don't do. There have definitely been some HPP'd foods that my animals did not do well on. And then once I heard about this testing and I decided to give it a try again, there are other HPP'd foods that my animals do well on.
Hmm.
So I'm kind of on the fence, if I'm being honest about it.
Yeah.
Um, I think, one, I also sat through a presentation at AFCO last year from a woman who runs, I can't remember, I don't have the paperwork in front of me, but she, like, all she does is HPP at a university. This is
Oh.
literally her life. This is all she does. And her presentation said that it damages Salmonella, E. coli, and Listeria. However, these bacteria are so hardy that they could potentially, over time, if given the right conditions,
Hmm.
could, I don't want to say come back to life, but like they could come back to life under the right conditions. So you would have to not only be confident in the HPP process and be comfortable feeding it, but you would also have to be confident in the entire chain, from when that food was HPP'd, how the manufacturer, or the probably the whoever is manufacturing it for the company, is storing the product. However, the company that it is being white labeled for is storing the product, the transportation to the indie pet store, being confident in that, and being confident in how it's being stored at the indie pet store, and be confident in how you're storing it at home. So, like, there's a lot.
So many steps.
There's so many steps. Yes. But
Yes.
for me, at the end of the day, if it is going to give someone the confidence to feed a raw food diet, then I am all for it.
Same.
And if that animal does well eating it, then I am all for it.
Yes.
That's kind of my end of the day stance.
Yeah. I kind of agree with you. And another thing that I'll add to that is, so when the whole HPP started, because years ago, like I mean, it wasn't a thing. So most of my brands that I was able to offer were not HPP. So I was very I was very anti. And Jacqueline from Answers, like I was one of her first retail stores, and I was 1000% in her camp. So, but as time went on and the FDA just kept pushing and pushing and pushing and they're attacking us.
Yeah.
They're truly attacking us. And I worry that it's going to get to the point that we're not going to have any options that aren't HPP'd.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's
I
being
agree.
shoved down our throats.
I agree. And I mean, test and hold. I'm happy with test and hold.
Yeah.
But it does leave a lot of room for the FDA to come in. And there are companies at HPP that also test and hold. Like, I think that's wonderful. Like, that's, those are the kind of companies that I'm really like, I can get behind this, because they are doing everything they possibly can to provide a safe product for your pets at the end of, and at the end of the day. And I, again, we can talk all day long about AFCO. I don't actually love the fact that, they're the same nutritional requirements for kibble or ultra processed food as fresh food. I hate that. I don't agree with it in the slightest. But as a nutritionist, as a pet professional, like I have to have that conversation with my clients and say, if this is what you're most comfortable with, is providing an AFCO complete and balanced meal for your pet, then that is what we are going to do. I wish it wasn't that way.
It'll take a generation to change that.
Yeah,
Where are you on a complete and balanced meal?
So I think, as much as I don't like that they have the exact same standards for ultra processed food and fresh food, it is all we have at the moment. And so for companies, big pet food companies specifically, the ones that are out there using premixes to balance their recipes, and there are some fresh foods that are doing that too.
Explain what a premix is.
A premix,
break it down.
A premix is a vitamin and mineral pack that is designed to meet AFCO minimum requirements for complete and balanced, whether that be for a dog or a cat. And it literally doesn't matter what the other ingredients are in the food. They put this premix in. It is recognized as AFCO complete and balanced. They are supposed to test the premix when they get it to make sure it is what it says it is and nothing else. And then test the finished product to make sure it is what it says it is and nothing else. That rarely happens, as we have seen in recalls throughout the years. That just doesn't happen the way it's supposed to. So as far as providing a complete and balanced meal when we are using something like a premix, when we are using a lot of synthetic vitamins and minerals, I don't think we have a whole lot of workaround as far as, like, if these big pet food companies are not being held to that standard, then who the heck knows what your pet is going to get?
Yeah.
So in that regard, I'm happy about it. As far as fresh food is concerned, so these companies that are out here balancing with fresh foods, or as many fresh foods as possible, so maybe they're only using 1, 2, 3 added vitamins and minerals, something like that. a handful. Like, we're not seeing a paragraph of words that we can't pronounce. We're only seeing a couple things here or there that they are using because they're trying to meet AAFCO minimum requirements. I don't think it's fair, and I don't think it's accurate. I think we could see. So first and foremost, my opinion is that kibble has been an experiment and it has failed, and we need to get on the bus that this is a failed experiment. We've got to get on that bus. I think what we're going to see next, if we ever do get on that bus, that kibble is a failed experiment, I think what we're going to see next with fresh foods is that when we are feeding every single bite complete and balanced to minimum AAFCO requirements, I think we're going to see problems there as well. Because the way AAFCO created these guidelines, first, is on synthetic nutrients. It's not on real food. Secondly, an individualized approach. So they took copper, and they took vitamin A, and they took iron and manganese, and they tested them individually. They didn't test them all together. So we don't actually know what the end result is in feeding all of these combined in the way they are combined. And so for fresh food, I think we're doing our pets a disservice by feeding, quote unquote, AAFCO complete and balanced. Yeah.
So how many times a day do you think to yourself, the more I know, the more I don't want to know?
Sure. All the time. All the time. I have a frog in my throat. I'm sorry. All the time. I do. I literally, it's funny because I'll tell, like, people ask me, the nutrition courses I took and if I recommend them. And I do. I recommend them. I love the education that I have. But like when I went through my first nutrition certification, I was literally pulling my hair out. Like, why is this so hard? Why does it have to be so hard to feed a dog? And I was almost like defeated. Like, oh my gosh, this is so freaking hard. And then the second one I took was with Dr. Billinghurst. So if anybody knows Dr. Billinghurst, he's like, stop making this so complicated. Like, literally, that's what he spends his life saying, is stop making this so complicated.
The title of his book is Give Your Dog a Bone.
Yep.
I mean, do we need to say any more about him? Give your dog a bone.
I know, which he is rewriting, by the way. I'm so excited for that. Yes, I haven't put that podcast episode out yet. I just got to talk to him recently, and he is rewriting that. I'm really, really excited for it. Yeah, he's amazing because he really, like, he puts it in perspective. He's like, stop making everything so complicated. Look at how animals in the wild are thriving. And how can we replicate that? And granted, we do have to make some accommodations, especially, there are dogs that live in high rises that may rarely, if ever, touch grass. That to me is sad, but at the same time, like, at least that dog has a loving home. So, we have to realize where we are with our pets and yes, make some accommodations, but the base of what we're doing really should not be that complicated.
I agree with you 1,000%. So for those that are home cooking, for anyone listening that is home cooking.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I know. So although I'm not a huge complete and balanced, every meal has to be complete and balanced. Humans, we don't eat complete and balanced, right?
Yeah, right.
But I can't tell you how many people I've talked to over the years that, well, I just cook my dog chicken and rice because that's what that's what he likes.
Yeah.
So there's more to it
There is
than just providing chicken and rice.
Oh
right?
my gosh. Yeah.
So let's talk about that a little bit and then we'll wind it down.
So the bottom line is that our dogs and our cats, really, our dogs more so, I think. Well, I don't know. Maybe our cats too. They are so adept they're so adaptable that we nutritionally abuse them for so long and we don't see the result of it, that we don't realize that that's what we're doing. But we are. And I think that is the case in kibble, honestly. Like I'm just not a fan. Like, I think there is a time and a place for using something synthetic, but it, for me, is like a last resort. So these premixes, these synthetic multivitamins, like, I'm just not a huge fan of them. That said, if we are feeding a cooked food diet at home, there are just inherently going to be gaps in that nutrition that cannot be made up unless we are adding in raw meaty bones, for example, organ meats, glandulars.
Goat's milk?
Oh my gosh, I can't tell you how much I love goat's milk. It is like I am
Same.
In my circle of pet health coaches, people are like, "Oh, that's the goat's milk lady." Like, it is my answer to almost everything.
Well, I know you're all about hydration too. So,
Yeah,
you'll be happy to know my Great Dane puppy. She is a rescue though. She gets at least 2 cups a day of raw goat's milk.
I love it.
Yeah.
I am so extra. I think, was this last summer? I apparently started a trend in the healthy pet space because when I went to Super Zoo last year, I didn't have I drink raw cow's milk, and I didn't have it, right? I'm traveling. So I got goat's milk, which is still, it's illegal in Nevada, but I found some. So I got green juju goat's milk, and that's what I was drinking walking around Super Zoo. And so I, videoed it and was talking about it. And then afterwards, I had so many people message me like, "You can drink that too?" And I'm like, "Of course you can. Why can't you?" Like, of course. And so everybody started making their own smoothies with goat's milk and posting reels on Instagram. And of course, Billy's like, "I cannot condone this." I'm like, "I understand that you can't legally condone this as a representative of Green Juju. However, I am still posting on my account." Because he drinks it too. He's not.
Oh, I know. He ever gives you trouble, you just let me know.
No, he is certainly trouble. But no, he's just like, when I talk about it with him on the podcast, he's like, "Of course I cannot, as a representative of Green Juju, condone this."
You can, he can't.
Yes, I can. I do not work for Green Juju.
Whatever you want.
But yeah, it is one of my most favorite things. In fact, I'm really excited for, this is not a commercial for Green Juju, by the way, but I'm really excited for the freeze-dried veggie blends that they just came out with in addition to the Just Greens, especially the golden one because of the bee pollen. So that's one of the things that I do talk to Billy a lot about when I have him on the podcast is reproductive foods. So goat's milk, eggs, bee pollen, these things that are designed in nature to sustain, build immune systems and sustain life. I think these have components that we just are unaware of.
Sure.
And yeah, they're amazing.
I think what's fascinating with bee pollen and honey, they don't have an expiration date. They literally are good indefinitely. Like, what more do you need to know about how vital of a natural thing you have in at your disposal? So, but when we talk about bee pollen and honey, isn't it most beneficial to feed locally and source locally? Like, my neighbors have honey, so I get their honey. And my bee pollen is from my neighbors and another farm that's close by. So what do you think about that?
I mean, I think that is ideal for the any like allergy benefits
Sure.
that we're going to get from it. But I think there's so much more to it that we're not taking into account all the time. Like, I think that's how most people start using honey and bee pollen. That's certainly how I started using honey and bee pollen. But bee pollen especially, it has so many minerals and different like nutrients in it that we don't see. So, and again, not a commercial for Green Juju, but one of the things I love about their line of products is that they are trying to bring like the soil back into our dogs and cats' diet. And I think for us too, as humans, that is so it's missing. It's so critical and it's missing. And one of the things that I talk about so passionately is regenerative agriculture. And I always temper like what I talk about, saying like I understand that this is kind of like a privileged thing that we get to talk about. And I feel horrible at the fact that it is a privileged thing. It should not be a privilege at all. It should be the norm of what we're eating, of what our pets are eating. And so like I'm just such a big advocate for regenerative agriculture because of that. And what that is going to bring back to our plates is what Green Juju is trying to do. There are, all these micronutrients in the soil that we aren't getting in our food supply because our soils are depleted. And so, again, that's just one of the things that I really like about Green Juju's products. Not a commercial for that.
No. And regenerative farming, for anyone listening who really doesn't understand, because I've heard people say different things about what they think regenerative farming is. So tell my listeners what it actually is, Jess.
So this is so interesting because I got to interview Ian Somerhalder for the Common Ground documentary that just came out. I don't know when this podcast is coming out, but it just came out the day before we're recording. So on Earth Day, it came out on Amazon Prime. It's called Common Ground. And I haven't finished watching it because I just started watching it last night because it just came out yesterday. But in the first like 20 minutes or so, it's this university that they have been, the students have been studying and researching regenerative agriculture, and they tried to figure out exactly what it is. Like, we have to be able to define it to say, is this farm regenerative or not? And so I'm going to butcher this, but one of the things is that they do not till the land. So that's a requirement. You cannot till the land. You are planting cover crops. So you have to plant cover crops to protect the soil from things like erosion. You are not using any chemicals whatsoever. So herbicides, pesticides, fungicides, you're not using any of that. You are building the soil so that, just like we talk about with our guts, building a healthy gut microbiome, we are rebuilding a healthy soil microbiome so that we do not need these herbicides, pesticides, and fungicides. And I think there was one more and I can't remember, but there are a handful of requirements to actually meet that label. And we're getting there. Like, every year we're getting more and more acres of farmland turned back into regenerative farmland in the United States. And I am so here for it because we need it so badly.
It's a long-term solution.
It is. It is absolutely.
It's part of the puzzle of changing everything back to the way it needs to be. And just to not just mention Green Juju on this episode, but I feel it's very important to mention Westpaw. I don't know if you know this, but
I love Westpaw.
Yeah, they're awesome. So I'm on they have a retail advisory board. I'm on the retail advisory board and was out there last summer. They have a treat, a beef stick that they are using a Montana regenerative cattle farm. And so that's another one for your radar too. They have these bags of beef sticks and it's all local regenerative farming. They also are very supportive of that movement.
Yeah, I've been a big fan of Westpaw for maybe 15 years now.
Yeah.
And I was so sad when they discontinued all of their cat line. I literally bought I bought a huge box full of their catnip. I still
Yeah,
have so much catnip.
yeah, yeah.
I was very disappointed when they
That
got
was
rid of their cat
that was a
line.
big change for them.
Mhm.
A big
Yeah,
change. So,
yeah, yeah. They're
um,
awesome though.
yeah, they're awesome. I love them. I love them all. So, okay. Well, what I mean, I know there's a million topics we can discuss, but is there anything else on the top of your radar that you really wanted to mention today or
I think more than anything, I want people to start educating themselves.
Mm,
I know that's it's a big ask. We are bombarded day in and day out. So many of us are just trying to get through every day.
yeah.
I get that. Like, literally, in the season of life I am in right now, I am like, my dog's bowls do not look like what they used to look like. I feel like a bad mom. I really do. Like, she's getting like basics. I was so proud of myself just for adding an egg on top of her dinner last night. That's the season of life I'm in. So I get it. I really, really do. But it is just so important that we do pick one thing
Hmm.
and start educating yourself on it and realize that whatever you are educating yourself on applies to both you and your pets. So
Yes.
even if, like, for instance, you,
Yes.
I don't know, go to Force of Nature Meats and you say, I'm going to start buying my meats regeneratively, right? Like, okay, let's start including our pets in that too, because their nutrition is just as important. So whatever you choose, whatever is like your gut is saying, let's go down this road first, include both yourself and your pets in that, whether it's,
Hmm.
looking into vaccines or, um, you know, cleaning
Water.
up. Oh my gosh, water.
That's a whole
Oh
rabbit
my
hole. We're not
goodness.
going there right now. But
Such a rabbit hole.
this whole it's a journey. And I have
Yeah.
seen people, and I'm sure you have too, go through the journey. It starts with one thing,
Yeah.
and then they're like, wow, well, if this did that, what would this do?
Yep.
So it's
Yeah.
a journey, and just like any journey, it starts with one step.
It does. So as overwhelming as it is, and I know it is, just pick one thing.
Mhm.
Pick one thing. And if you're really having a hard time, if your pet is struggling, consider, looking into a pet health coach. I mean, there's a growing number of us. It doesn't have to be me. I'm happy to help you, but it doesn't have to be me. There are others out there. Just talk. I know a lot of us, I do. I give a free 15-minute call just so we can like get to know each other and decide if we even want to work together because
Yeah,
not everybody's a good fit.
yeah.
I'm well aware that not everybody is a good fit for each other. And I'm certainly not everybody's cup of tea. That's totally fine. But if I can plant a seed,
Yeah,
I don't have to be your cup of tea as long as I can plant a seed and you start, you know, doing better for you and
yeah,
your pets. That's all.
yeah, yeah.
That's all I'm here for.
Or you
So,
start at the independent pet store, or if you have a holistic vet in your area, or
yeah.
shoot me an email and I can, kind of point you in the right direction. But if anyone
Yeah.
listening, Jess, really resonated with you and what your message is and what your background is in, how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah. So, I mean, first I would say do go listen to my podcast. It's called The Pet Parenting Reset. Make sure that the message that I'm putting out is one that resonates with you. I have some incredible guests on all the time, and I love doing that. It's all free. That's kind of my philosophy in business is to put your best stuff out there for free. So that's what the podcast is there for, to give you all of my best stuff for free. And then outside, anything on my website can lead you back to me. My main website is just my name, jessicalfisher.com. And you can book a free call there if you want to talk about what's going on with your pet and see, if working with a pet health coach is right for you.
Awesome. Awesome. Well,
Yeah,
thank you for joining me. I think we covered a lot and
we did.
yeah, we really did. We kind of, and I knew you knew too, right? That
Yeah.
we'd kind of get all over the place, but I think it was good.
Yeah, it was awesome. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy to have connected with you
Yeah.
and to help get this message out to more people.
Right. It's a community and we're all in it together. And that's what I love about people in the pet space is we're in this together. It takes a
Yeah.
village to make these changes. You don't, I don't feel, like we're in competition.
No.
We're working on the same team.
Yep.
We're an army, right? We're an army.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. I love that. I love that you said that. It is important that we work together
yeah,
for sure.
I'm thankful to be in this space and know so many great people. So, all
Same.
right. Well,
Yeah.
thanks for listening, everyone. Please share this episode. Please rate 5 stars. It's really important to help pets out there. And like I said, it takes a village. Bye for
Thank
now.
you so much.